Have you ever stopped to think how time slips through your fingers, even when you try to hold on to it with all your strength? A second ago no longer exists, and the next one might never come. Today, we dive into the myth of Cronus, the Lord of Time, the Titan who devours his own children so he won't be devoured by the future. A dark story, but one that invites us to look inward into the silent abyss of passing time and the shadows we carry within. In Greek mythology, Cronus is the Titan who ruled over the golden age of the world, but within him lies a terrible mark. Fear, afraid of being overthrown by his own offspring, he devours each child at birth, a brutal image, and yet profoundly symbolic, because deep down all of us are devoured by time. Every unlived dream, every word left unsaid, every love postponed, all of it is swallowed by Cronus. But what does this image reveal beyond its horror? It speaks to our relationship with death and with our awareness of time. Human beings are the only creatures who know that they will die. That awareness is a heavy burden and also a dangerous gift, because the fear of the end can either paralyze us or awaken us. In shadow psychology, as Carl Jung taught, whatever we deny or repress grows silently within us, and time is the greatest shadow of all. When we flee from the awareness of death, we live as if we were eternal, procrastinating, postponing, leaving for tomorrow what was meant to be lived today. That is how the shadow devours us. That is how Cronus, within us, continues his feast. How many times have you caught yourself saying, "One day I'll do it, one day I'll change"? But that one day never comes, because Cronus doesn't wait, and what we leave for later is often buried alive in the silence of time. Now think about your mental health. Anxiety, depression, identity crises. In many cases, they aren't just isolated illnesses, they are cries from the unconscious, screaming against the time that escapes us. It's the mind trying to say, you cannot live as if you had 1,000 years. The body falls ill when the soul cannot find meaning, and meaning only emerges when we recognize our own mortality. The philosopher Heidegger said, "Man is a being toward death, not so that we live in despair, but so that we may awaken." The awareness of our finitude forces us to ask, what truly matters? What am I building with the hours I've been given? Look around. We live in a culture that idolizes youth, productivity, and speed, as if it were possible to deceive Cronus, to escape time by filling our schedules, collecting achievements, digital trophies, but deep down, we know none of it stops the clock. Time keeps moving, slow, relentless, silent, and here lies the key. Cronus is not only an enemy, he is also a teacher. Time teaches us that nothing is eternal, not pain, not joy, not failure. Everything passes, even what once felt unbearable will also be devoured. This myth doesn't speak of a distant Titan, it speaks of you, your fight against the clock, the promises you didn't keep, the dreams you left in the drawer, the inner voice that whispers, "I'm not capable." It's too late. Those are the claws of Cronus inside your mind, but there is a secret. Cronus devours, but every moment lived fully, every conscious gesture, every genuine embrace, escapes his hungry mouth. Time cannot steal what is lived in depth. Life is only conquered when it is savored. This is the starting point of our journey today. To look at Cronus not with terror, but with reverence, because only when we recognize the power of time can we also recognize it as a guide. He reminds us that we don't have all the time in the world, and precisely because of that, every moment matters. Have you ever noticed how afraid we are to stop? Silence unsettles us. Emptiness makes us restless. Because deep down, when the noise fades, we can hear Cronus breathing behind us. In the myth, it's said that Cronus devoured each of his children whole the moment they were born, but one of them escaped. Zeus, Rhea, their mother, hid the baby and wrapped a stone in cloth to deceive the Titan. Cronus, blinded by fear, swallowed it without realizing the trick. That detail is essential because it symbolizes that time can consume everything except what carries the seed of transformation. What is Zeus within us? What cannot be destroyed by the passing of days? It is consciousness. It is the capacity to look at time, to look at our own shadows and say, I see you, but I will not be your victim. In our daily lives, the metaphor is brutally clear. Think of anxiety. It is Cronus within us, devouring every possibility of the future before it even happens. A thought arises. What if I fail? Cronus swallows the attempt. Another thought, I'm not good enough. Cronus swallows hope. And so we are slowly consumed by fear of what does not yet exist. Depression, on the other hand, is Cronus chewing the past. Painful memories echo again and again. If only I had done things differently. If only I were someone else. They become chains that bind the present to something that has already died, but still lives within us as a shadow. In shadow psychology, this is even clearer. Jung reminds us that what we repress does not disappear. He wrote, "What we do not face in ourselves will one day appear outside as fate." Cronus is exactly that. When we deny time, when we pretend it doesn't exist, it returns in the form of symptoms, anxiety, anguish, melancholy. The Titan manifests inside the mind. But there is an antidote, integration, to accept that time is finite, to accept that death has been walking beside us since our first breath, not as an enemy, but as a silent counselor. Think how that realization could change the way you live. If you were fully aware that today could be your last day, how would you treat the people you love? Would you waste so many hours scrolling endlessly on a glowing screen? Or would you embrace more, say, I love you more often, forgive more easily? It's curious, the great spiritual masters, Stoic philosophers, and monks all share the same truth. Memento mori. Remember that you will die, not as a curse, but as an awakening. See how this connects to mental health. We live in an age of acceleration, clocks that never stop, jobs that demand more than we can give, social media that makes us believe we are always behind. This frantic rhythm isn't freedom. It's an invisible prison built by the illusion that we must keep up with a time that never rests. But the truth is different. Cronus will keep walking. You don't need to chase him. You only need to walk consciously. Each present step is an act of resistance against the devourer. The myth also offers another revelation. Cronus is eventually overthrown. In the end, Zeus forces him to regurgitate all the children he had swallowed. Lost hope is reborn. Life, once destroyed, rises again. This teaches us something powerful, even when we feel devoured by anxiety, depression, or the weight of time. Life can be reborn. There is something within us that cannot be eaten. We call it consciousness, the self. It's the part that watches chaos and still endures. Perhaps you felt it in the depths of despair, when a faint light whispers, keep going. That's Zeus within you. That's the stone that deceives Cronus. The proof that even in the face of time, freedom remains, because death exists, yes, but so does the moment, and the moment is eternal. Have you noticed how sometimes it's easier to blame the world than to face your own shadow? We often say things like, I don't have time, the day needs 30 hours, or if I were younger, I'd do things differently. But deep down, the problem isn't time itself. It's the way we relate to it. Cronus is the mirror. When you look at the clock and feel your heart race, it's not the ticking hands that oppress you. It's your relationship with them. The shadow isn't outside. It's within. Jung described the shadow as everything the conscious mind refuses to acknowledge. And when time seems to press against us, when we feel we should already be somewhere else, it isn't Cronus who's devouring us. It's the shadow of comparison, of perfectionism, of the illusion of control. How many times have you felt like you were falling behind in life? Someone your age achieved more, traveled more, succeeded more, and suddenly you felt small. That's the poison of Cronus. Not the real time, but psychological time, the one that compares, judges, and condemns. In mental health, this shows up as chronic anxiety. The body lives in a constant state of alert because it believes it's losing time. But losing time compared to what? To whom? When we fall into that trap, we forget that every life has its own rhythm. Every soul its own journey. Cronus is relentless. Yes, but he is not uniform. He doesn't measure everyone by the same clock, and here lies the key in shadow psychology. When we recognize time as an ally rather than an enemy, we discover that every moment can become a portal. The now isn't less valuable than a brilliant future. It's simply different. Look at your routine. How many hours of your day are spent on things that don't nourish your soul? Mechanical work, repetitive tasks, endless scrolling on screens. That's how Cronus feeds, not only on years, but on the quality of your presence. Think about your relationships. How many times have you held back from saying something important, believing there would be time later, but later may never come? Clinical psychology is full of stories about people burdened with guilt for words left unspoken before the death of someone they loved. That's Cronus showing his cruel face. He never gives back the moments we waste. In the workplace, the devourer appears too. The endless pursuit of impossible goals, the fear of not being enough, the constant comparison with others, all of this makes us sick. Burnout is, in part, the body being eaten alive by psychological time, that relentless feeling of never doing enough, of always being behind. But there's another way to see it. When we begin to understand that every task is part of a greater whole, when we find meaning even in the smallest actions, Cronus loses part of his power, time ceases to be pressure and becomes flow. And in flow, there is life. The human body is a silent clock. Cells die and are reborn every second. The heart beats in cycles. Sleep unfolds in phases. Everything within us is time made flesh. To ignore this is to invite illness. Insomnia, for example, is a desperate attempt to flee from Cronus. The body pleads for rest, but the mind refuses to release control. The result: exhaustion, anxiety, loss of vitality. Psychosomatic illnesses also carry his mark. When we refuse to live by our inner time, the rhythm of the soul, the body screams ulcers, chronic pain, muscular tension. All are messages that we are trying to outrun the devourer. In mythology, Cronus could not be destroyed. He was imprisoned, contained. And the same is true for us. We cannot defeat time, but we can learn to live with it, and that begins in the body. Breathe consciously. Respect your sleep. Acknowledge your limits. Small rituals of care are acts of defiance against the Titan's jaws. There is a gentler version of Cronus, Kairos, the opportune time, the right moment. While Cronus measures minutes, Kairos measures intensity. And here the myth opens a path of escape. If we cannot stop chronological time, we can dive into the time of the soul. A deep 10-second hug can mean more than years of shallow coexistence. A decision made at the right moment can change an entire life. It is Kairos who saves us from Cronus. In psychology, this translates to presence, mindfulness, meditation, full awareness, modern practices that echo ancient wisdom. When we are truly present, time loses its power to devour us. It doesn't matter whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours. When life is lived in depth, it becomes untouchable. Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what is Cronus devouring in my life right now? Is it sleep, health, connection with the people you love, or your own inner peace? Recognizing this is the first step. The second is to rescue Zeus, the consciousness that sets you free. Choose one concrete action today to escape Cronus's jaws. It can be simple. Turn off your phone 30 minutes before bed. Call someone who matters. Walk slowly and notice the sky. These small revolutions reclaim eternity within the moment. The myth of Cronus is not just about a devouring titan. It's about us, about how we face the passing of days, the finitude of life, and the urgency of living with meaning. Time will keep moving. The question is, will you let it devour your life? Or will you transform each instant into eternity? Here we end another crossing. Remember, memento mori. We are all travelers through the shadows, and every conscious step is a flame that illuminates eternity.